There was a last time you played outside as a child, but you didn't know it. No one told you that the laughter echoing down the street would never sound quite the same again. That one day, without realizing it, you'd walk inside and never come back out to play. There was a last time you hugged someone you loved. Maybe a parent, a friend, a lover. You thought you'd see them again, but you didn't. And that final embrace passed quietly, unnoticed, as ordinary as the rest. It never announced itself as the last. Life is full of these vanishing points. The last time you heard a certain song and felt alive. The last time your childhood home smelled like comfort. The last time you cried from heartbreak or laughed until your stomach hurt. Each last, concealed inside a moment that felt infinite. We live as if there will always be more. More time, more mornings, more chances. But there won't be. Death is not an interruption. It is the completion of a pattern we deny exists. What if we lived, knowing that any moment could be the last? Would we pause longer, speak softer, love deeper? Would we dare to be fully alive? Because you will die, and maybe soon. But that's not a curse. It's an invitation to pay attention. Now, most people spend their lives running from death, as if silence will keep it away, as if pretending it's not there makes it any less real. But what if we've misunderstood it completely? What if death isn't the monster in the dark, but the light we've been too afraid to face? It's easy to fear what we don't know, to treat death as the great thief, the ender of everything beautiful. But hidden beneath that fear is a paradox, because death is also the reason anything is beautiful. A flower means more because it wilts. A sunrise moves us because we know it will fade. We cherish what we know we can lose. Imagine if you lived forever. Would anything still matter? Would love feel as urgent? Would your days feel as sacred? Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." This isn't morbid, it's clarity. Carl Jung spoke of confronting the shadow, the parts of ourselves we fear most. And what greater shadow is there than death? But when we stop running from it, when we look it in the eyes, something strange happens. We begin to wake up. Death, in all its cold finality, holds a secret. It shows us what truly matters. Not tomorrow, not someday, but this breath, this hour, this fleeting life that was never ours to keep. Long before we filled our calendars and numbed ourselves with noise, the Stoics sat in silence and stared death in the face. To them, death was not a disruption. It was a companion, a quiet whisper in the ear that said, "Memento mori." Remember, you must die, not to frighten, but to focus. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing." He didn't say this to make us despair, but to wake us up. Because when you carry the awareness of death with you, you start to notice things others miss. The warmth in a stranger's smile, the sacredness of an ordinary morning, the tenderness hidden in fleeting moments. Marcus Aurelius, a warrior and emperor, reminded himself daily, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." To modern ears, it might sound cold, but it isn't. It's clear. It's freeing. In a world drowning in distractions, this is radical. To remember death is to remember how to live. Cuts through illusion. It humbles the ego, and it brings us face to face with something we so easily forget. Time is not promised. You are not promised. So live, not later, not eventually. There is a kind of sleepwalking we call life. We follow routines, chase validation, wear masks handed to us by others. And in doing so, we become what Martin Heidegger called the they self. Not truly us, but a version shaped by what others expect, what society approves, what comfort allows. We live as if we'll live forever. We postpone authenticity, We trade truth for distraction. But Heidegger offered something unsettling and freeing. He called it being-toward-death, a philosophical alarm clock. He believed that only by confronting our own mortality, not in theory but in experience, do we finally begin to live as ourselves, not as someone else's idea of who we should be. Because death is not abstract, it's personal. And when we let that truth in, when we truly feel the weight of our impermanence, the illusions fall away. We stop waiting for permission, we stop performing, and we begin to live with urgency, with honesty, with depth. Heidegger wrote, "Only the anticipation of death individualizes us." It's not until we stand at the edge that we realize what really matters and what never did. Most people never get there. They die as strangers to themselves. But you don't have to, because death, strange as it sounds, doesn't just take. Sometimes it gives us back to ourselves. We rarely think about death, but it shapes us more than we realize, not through its presence, but through our denial. We scroll endlessly. We chase goals we don't understand. We drown ourselves in noise, podcasts, timelines, busy schedules, curated lives, all to keep from hearing the one truth whispering beneath it all. You will die. Modern life is a maze of escape routes, and we've built them well. Psychologists call it terror management theory, the idea that much of what we do, believe, and chase is a defense mechanism, a way to shield ourselves from the paralyzing awareness of death. We cling to identities, ideologies, material success, not because they're real, but because they make us feel less fragile. But here's the cost. In numbing ourselves to death, we numb ourselves to life. The silence we avoid, that's where meaning waits. The discomfort we dodge, that's where growth begins. Every click, every scroll, every purchase is a small prayer for permanence. And yet, nothing lasts. Carl Jung said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. But what if the soul awakens? Only when we stop running." We think avoiding death will protect us, but all it does is keep us half alive. And maybe that's the real danger. Not dying, but never truly living. Philosophy speaks to the mind, but stories, they speak to the soul. Let's leave the theories for a moment and step into something more human. Bronnie Ware was a palliative care nurse who spent years at the bedsides of the dying. She listened day after day as people took their final breaths and looked back on lives they could no longer change. And do you know what she heard most often? "I wish I'd lived a life true to myself, not the one others expected of me." Not, "I wish I'd worked more." Not, "I wish I'd had more followers or a nicer car." Just truth, presence, simplicity. Then there's the man who nearly died in a car crash. In the seconds before impact, everything slowed, and he thought, "This is it." Not with fear, but with regret. He'd spent years chasing things he never cared about. When he survived, he changed everything. Quit his job, mended old relationships, watched more sunsets. He stopped waiting. And there's the woman who lost her brother overnight. No warning, no goodbye. Grief shattered her, but in the ruins she found clarity. She stopped measuring time in years and started measuring it in meaning. Death, when it touches us, strips away the noise. It speaks the truth we spend our lives avoiding. And that truth is this: life is unbearably fragile and achingly beautiful because of it. We spend so much of life trying to outrun the ending. But what if the ending is what gives it meaning? Without death, life would be a shapeless fog, endless, weightless, forgettable. It's the very limits, the brevity, that make each moment glow. A candle is beautiful, not because it burns forever, but because it burns at all. This is the paradox. Death is not the enemy of life. It is the frame that makes the picture clear. The people who live most fully aren't the ones with the most time. They're the ones who've felt how little time there is, who've lost, who've wept, who've stood at the edge and come back different. They don't need more years. They need more presence. And maybe, so do you. You don't need to quit your job or move to a mountain. You just need to wake up inside the life you already have, to slow down enough to hear the silence, to look your loved ones in the eyes and really see them, to walk outside and realize this sky, this breath, this moment is not a rehearsal. You don't need more time. You need more now. And that is something death, oddly enough, was always trying to teach you. Just pause for a moment. Feel the weight of your body, the rhythm of your breath, the fragile warmth in your chest. Somewhere the world is rushing forward, screaming for your attention. But here, there's only stillness. And in that stillness, something begins to stir. Not fear, not despair, but a quiet kind of knowing that everything you're holding, everything you're chasing, is temporary. And that's not a tragedy. It's a miracle. What would change if you lived with death beside you, not as a shadow lurking, but as a friend walking quietly at your side? Would you speak more kindly? Forgive faster? Hold your loved ones a little longer before letting go? You don't need to do anything right now. There's no goal to chase, no lesson to master. Just this: you will die soon, and that's what will save you, because only when we remember the end do we truly begin. So now, breathe deep, look around, feel your life right here, right now. This moment is your invitation to live awake, to love fiercely, to be fully, unshakably present. Your quiet revolution starts here. If this touched something inside you, please like this video so more people can find it. Subscribe for more reflections that awaken the soul. And tell me in the comments, what does living with death beside you mean to you? Your voice matters. Will you join this journey?